Manju from Ayurhitam. I hope all of you are doing well. Welcome to the Friday session again. Today's topic is going to be about kids. As usual, even though I'm going to talk more about kids and Ayurveda, kids' health and Ayurveda, you're more than welcome to ask any questions you have. I'm going to wait for a couple seconds for everyone to join while that I'm going to put the topic here and pin. So if you have any question and answers, you're more than welcome to answer or question me. Okay, I'm going to pin that. Okay, so it's very important that we start young, and that's why I decided to speak about kids. I had several questions about kids, almost same kind of questions that were coming as a direct messages, so I decided, okay, I'll talk about kids' health that way in general, and if you have any specific questions, you can go ahead and ask me. Yeah, so to begin with, kids' health, right? It starts very young. We have to start at the young age itself. The very, very first thing, they come out of the mother's womb, they're so tiny. The first and foremost thing that I would say anybody and everybody should start is Abhyanga. I know I speak a lot about Abhyanga, but especially for kids, it's very, very important. That's the way you nourish the whole body. The reason we do that, the eyesight, the problem with eyesight is on the rise with kids. If I go to my kids' classroom, I don't go to the classroom anymore, even though I see on the Zoom, half of them have eyeglasses. So addressing it at very early age is important. That's not like that. We did not, when I was growing up, my class, we did not have so many kids having glasses. So we have to understand what is it that's causing it. That's the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about kids' health. Not only that, the immunity, about how kids are able to bounce back from if they have a cold, cough, allergy, fever, anything that they contract with, how easily and how quickly can they bounce back. That's another important aspect as well. So for all of this to happen, starting at a very young age, Abhyanga is very, very important. I'm thankful that I was given this wisdom for myself. I was given Abhyanga when I was young, and I was thankful that I was able to give Abhyanga for both my kids in when they were born, right until they're 1 year of age, and it continues even now. But I cannot tell you how important it is that you have to start that very young. Always warm oil, apply all over the body, and it's super good for so many things. It nourishes the body, it helps with the eyes, it helps calm them down. There is a lot of movement that happens for them throughout the day, mental movement, physical movement, a lot of movement that happens throughout the day, and this helps them calm down very much. So that's the foremost thing that I wanted to speak about. The second thing I wanted to speak about is, from the infant stage, how we introduce foods to them is very, very important. We associate the feelings, the relationship with the food that we develop, that we help our kids develop, is very important. A lot of times, if the child is crying, we give them milk, right? Thinking that, okay, we're pacifying their feelings with giving them a food. So they associate that with food. They don't know, oh, okay, maybe I should cry to get food. That's the kind of feedback we're giving, right? Because That's what we do. When they cry, we give them food, and that's somehow comforting for them. That's the kind of relationship we try to build with food. But that's not really how it is supposed to be. It's very subtle, but it's not that every time a child is throwing a tantrum, we want to calm them down with food. That's very, very important aspect that we need to understand, that yes, we need to address their temper tantrums, and only when they come out of that is when we offer food, especially when they're hungry. That way, we're teaching them hunger. We're not teaching them to pacify their temper tantrums and seeking food from the very young age. We don't want to teach them that they want to comfort themselves with food and not address their physical, or not address their mental emotions. That's very, very important how we teach them. So make sure that they go through whatever emotion they have to go through, and once that is over, once they experience the hunger, that's when we give them food. That's the kind of relationship we have to build for them. So slowly introducing foods is very important when starting young itself. It's as parents, we want them to grow very healthy. We want them to grow big. We want them to be energetic. And because of that zeal and enthusiasm, we give them heavy, nourishing foods, because we think that they get the high caloric food they get, that much energy they'll be getting too, forgetting that their digestive fires are very, very small. And if you dump that much high of a calorific food, it will be very difficult for them to digest. So from the young age itself, it's very important that we give them foods that are light and not necessarily very heavy, if you want them to be strong, healthy, and energetic. That's very important. I know growing up, I was never eating cheese. Growing up, I was never eating nuts. Growing up, I was not eating meat every day. So there's so many things that are being introduced to kids these days, because we want to give them correct measurement of proteins, correct measurements of carbohydrates, correct measurements of vitamins, minerals, and we fall in the trap of measuring all that we're eating. Give them these kinds of heavy, nourishing food, not knowing that is actually hampering their digestive fire, not knowing that it's actually not giving them the right type of strength. Yes, they will grow bulk because that undigested food stays in, and they will grow bulky. But is that bulk necessary for them to be strengthy? That's questionable. That's not going to be helpful for their strength. They will grow in size, the size will be grown, but that's not the right way we want them to grow. Even though the size is not proper, we want them to be strengthy, right? So that's important, that we slowly introduce foods when they're young, and see if they're able to digest. Make sure that they're able to digest, and then introduce a new food. Yeah. So that's another thing that I wanted to speak about. And a lot of times I hear this from parents that, what can I do? My child only eats this. My child only eats potatoes, or my child only eats paneer. My child only eats foods if there's cheese. There are certain foods that they restrict to. They say, what can I do? There's nothing I can do, right? That's the usual thing that I hear. But if we go back and if we remember, we are the ones that introduced that foods to them. It's okay. They can go hungry for a meal, 2 meals, 3 meals. It's okay. Let them understand the real hunger, and let them realize what is important. If they're hungry, they will definitely come back and eat. So maybe we are reasoning ourselves that, yeah, it's easy for us, definitely, if we give them what they ask. But looking at the long run, that's probably not the goal. So setting that goals right in the young age itself makes it much more easier. As they grow old, it becomes much difficult. So setting that ground rules when they're young itself, saying that, what, this is the food that we eat. Either you eat it or don't eat it. Again, we don't want to be very, very adamant about it, right? We want to provide them with taste. It's not like we're depriving them with taste. Don't get me wrong that I want your child to be deprived of taste and eat bland food all the time. Yes, we want to give them tasty food, but make sure that it is healthy and light and not heavy foods. Yeah, so I hope that is very I hope that I was able to convey that message. But if you have any questions in that, I'll be happy to answer. And coming to snacks, that's another thing that a lot of parents ask, what kind of snacks are good? And a lot of kids here eat fruits as snack, which is a good thing. It's okay. I mean, fruits are much better than eating heavy fried foods. That's much better. But eating lots and lots of fruits also without eating proper meals is another problem, because fruits have lots of water in them, and lots of fruits have that inherent sour taste in them, which means it's heating and there's a lot of water in them which stays inside the body. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying do not eat fruits. Yes, you can give fruits to your child, but make sure it is a sweet fruit which does not have lots of water in it. Like apple is a good fruit. A sweet apple is good. You can give it to them. Pear is good. Pomegranates are good. Grapes are good. Figs are good. Figs are in season now, and the we get persimmons here. Those are good as well. So those kind of fruits which are very sweet, but make sure you give them only one. It has to be given as a snack. You're not making it a meal. I've seen a lot of kids, because fruits are good, they change their meal. They're like, I want to eat this as a meal. That's probably not a good idea. You want to eat your meal, and this you're going to eat it as a snack. So you can eat that as a snack, or the laddus made out of moong dal, you can make those, or dates, raisins, figs, cooked carrots. These are some of the options that you can give them to eat. But eating a lot of nuts is probably not a good idea also, especially if they're not soaked. If they're soaked, yes, it's good. You can give them about 4, 5, 6 almonds. Especially almonds are very good. You can soak them and peel and give it to them, and it's very good. It actually helps them grow the brain. The bone marrow is grown very well if you give good type of almonds. And you can do that. Those are the type of snacks that you would want to give. Another important thing that Ayurveda has also mentioned, especially right from the childhood, is to give something which has gold in it, right? Suvarna prashan is something that is in, we're not allowed to give that here in the United States. You're not allowed to give heavy metals which has gold in it here in the United States. But it is available in India if you would want to give it. It's called a Suvarna Prash, or you can get like a 24 karat gold, rub that on stone, on like a stone that you have, along with honey. Take that honey along with whatever you get from that gold. It's very, very tiny that you'd get. You would make the child lick it from infancy itself. That makes sure, they're exposed to a lot of radiation. They're exposed to a lot of poisons invariably. I mean, it's not like there's a lot of chemicals around, there's a lot of radiation around. Gold is an antidote for all of this. So somehow giving that to the child will make sure that the effects that they get from all of these poisons, chemicals, and radiations will be mitigated by that. Or another way of giving it to them can be by boiling water. Water, you can boil that with a 24 karat gold. Make sure that it's a 24 karat gold, not an ornament gold, because the ornament gold has something already mixed in it. It's 22 karat. The 24 karat gold can be boiled in water, filter that, and that can be given. And that's gold treated water, and it can be anti-poisonous. Yeah, so that's one thing I wanted to also speak about. One important aspect that we need to make sure that kids grow is their mental health. That's very, very important, because each child is different. One child can be very confused. They don't know how to take a decision. They have so many things going on in their head. And it's important for us as parents to help them choose. To It's not like we're telling them you do this, but we have to make sure we give that kind of a child that is more vata, right? Which means that this child has a lot of thoughts. They want to do this. They want to take so many subjects in school. Maybe they want to be doing so many extracurricular activities. They have so many creative ideas, but they are not able to nail down and take a decision. So that kind of kids, you want to make sure as a parent we give them that support, that we're here for you and help them get to a solution. That's how we want to help them. And the second type of a child who is very adamant about what their ideas are. They're like, okay, this is what I know. You don't know anything. I want to do it. As a parent, we know that that's probably not the best choice that they want to take at this moment. But we have to give them a chance to fail. And if we want to give them a chance to go through whatever they think is right, because that's what they're adamant about. Let them go through it. If they succeed in it, great. If they don't, then they will be able to come back to whatever you're saying and they'll be able to understand it. So it's important that we treat each child different. They're like a different, even though they're siblings, it's very, very different. And a kapha child will probably not take any initiative. They are satisfied with whatever they have in life and they probably will not take any initiative. So it's our responsibility to help them take initiative. So mental support from childhood is also important, along with giving them this physical nourishment. And there's other so many different things that can be done if there's pain, constipation, all those kind of things. If you have specific questions, I can talk about that. But a daily routine, what should it look like for a child? That's what I wanted to talk about. But if you have any specific questions about constipation or colic pain or loose stools, anything like that, you can definitely ask me. But a daily routine it's important that we help them rise early in the morning. Doesn't matter it's a weekday or weekend. We set rules for them and we follow them. We want to make sure that we follow them. They always watch us. They observe us. They don't listen to us. They follow whatever we do. So it's important that we set a right example for them. Rise early. Make sure that there is no difference between a weekend and a weekday. It's the same time they would have to wake up every day. And make sure that they get into the habit of drinking maybe just half a cup or 1 cup of warm water as soon as they wake up. It's good that they cleanse it and use the bathroom. Make sure that they use the bathroom. They have enough time before they go to school. Now that school is online, I know a lot of kids that wake up just 5 minutes before school starts, just brush their teeth and go start Zoom. But it's important that they take that time in the morning, rise early, drink water, go use the bathroom, shower, eat good breakfast, tongue scrape. Scraping the tongue is also important. We need to tell them again and again that scraping that gunk out is important. And then eat breakfast, then be ready for school. It's important that they set this routine. They have this much amount of time before they go to school. They should not, because if not, their mind is not completely there in school. If they just wake up and go to school, it's difficult for them to follow whatever is being taught in school. So make sure that they have this much time before they go, and they do this as a daily routine. Get going, get moving. It's important, especially during this lockdown, during this pandemic. It's important that they go out, or if the air quality is not good, just like how it is now in the Bay Area, they can at least stay inside and do something inside. Get them moving. They have to move. We Kids have a lot of mucus inside. And um, Normally kids have a lot of kapha personality, which means they have a lot of mucus inside, and it's important that they keep moving that. If they don't keep moving, then it's difficult for them. The immunity problems will come, cold, cough, fever, these kind of things might happen. So encourage them that they have some kind of physical activity. Enough sleep. I've spoken so many times about how it's important for a child to get enough rest. Going to bed by 10 p.m. latest is very, very important for them. And they can rise early, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., that's fine, but make sure that they go to bed by 10 p.m. for sure. Eating right and appropriate use of all their senses so that there is longevity. Make sure that we do that for them, so that they see that that's what we're doing. We're not overdoing our senses. And we also gently remind them each time how it's important to protect their own senses, all the five senses, right? Because we see that immunity is a big problem. We see that allergies are a big problem. And there is a lot of problems with ADHD, ADD kind of problems. And obesity is another thing that's on the rise in children. Following all of these, there's so much information about this on the internet, and I'm sure you've heard about all of this in the past. But really, let us make sure that we follow and be a role model for our kids. I hope that was beneficial for you. I just wanted to briefly come on and talk about kids because I had some questions about it. But if you have any questions specifically about kids, I'd be happy to answer them. But really, there's so many allergy conditions that I see with the kids, either skin allergies or spring allergies, rhinitis, these kind of problems that I see with kids. And I always thought it's important that we address early, because our respiration and our digestion is very much connected. If there is a lot of mucus that is built up because of the food that we eat, where will that go? The closest is the respiration, and that's where you get all of those phlegmy, sticky kind of secretions that you get in that area because it's so close. So it's important that we keep that area clean to keep the respiratory area clean. And that's why it's important we start that early. If we do not bring foods that are not good for the kids into the house, then it will be easy for kids to make good choices and eat good choices from childhood itself. Especially now with the pandemic, because they don't have a choice but to eat at home, it will be easy for us to incorporate this, easy for us to incorporate a predictable lifestyle. That's very, very important. If they have unpredictability, if we change meal times, if we change sleep times because it's a weekend, because it's a weekday, because we don't have so much work, if we change it, then it will be difficult for them to follow a set routine. We have to help them incorporate this in their life so that they will be successful in that. Yeah. Yeah. So quickly, I wanted to speak about that. I hope that was helpful for whoever was listening. And thank you so much for joining, for those of you that joined. I will come back again next week with a new topic. Until then, thank you so much and see you again soon. Bye-bye.